today has become a self-care day. I am tired. My brain is tired. My body is tired. And although I have some organizational things to write, I'm going to make myself more tired today if I do it now, if I force myself to do it now. It's one of those days where the extra cup of coffee is just not helping. So I know that I maybe just need a little break from the thinking, a break from the schedule, the overscheduled, and to just make this part of the 20%, my 80-20 rule. This is part of the 20% that I can just take care of myself and not be guilty, not feel judgment because I'm not doing anything. I know me, and I will get up tomorrow morning early after a good night's sleep, and I will get my work done. I will at least partially do what I wanted to try and do today. I'll do it tomorrow morning. And come Tuesday, Monday's a holiday, come Tuesday, when we go back to school, I will have accomplished all that I set out to do this weekend. But I'm giving myself the grace. And again, I'm not judging myself. I'm not letting the mean girl in my head say, what are you doing? You should, that lovely word should, that we all use way too often. Not letting her get in my way and just getting out, doing a walk, getting the blood flowing, having a good afternoon to just recharge and let my reserves, let my creativity fill back and my energy fill back, because singing and all of that requires a lot of physical and emotional energy. And if I'm drained, I just know that my output is never going to be as good as if I had given myself a chance to rest. So that's what I'm doing today. It's been a week and a half or 2 weeks of really reevaluating my boundaries, really learning to set more effective boundaries, which is not always easy for me. And really just defining who I am. My life coach said to me today, if you don't define who you are, you can't change who you are. Which I just thought, why is she always right? But she is. She's an incredible lady. And that sort of hit me like, wow, I should be listening to this. I mean, I know that if you don't define who you are, if you don't know who your values and your judgments and who you are as an entertainer, as an artist, the world will try to define you. And that can be a scary proposition. But I never thought about it in terms of my own growth and change. So that was a pretty cool, I'll be thinking about this for a while, like having my boundaries and the definition of what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do. And I'm the only one that can set that. If I let the world continually tell me, and man, algorithms change, you should wear this, you should do that, you should, think this, you should think that, you should have this piece of clothing, oh, now it's out of style. At some point, you have to just say, nope, this is what I'm comfortable with. And I never really thought about it in the light of my boundaries, allowing myself to really change and not be pulled around by the whims of society, I guess. So that's on my mind. I had a good meditation practice this morning, and then did a few things around the house that always makes me feel like I'm recharging my batteries. Getting ready and getting organized always makes me feel good. I don't like my environment to be disorganized, because that then makes me feel stressed and anxious. If I can't find things and I don't know where they are. And so I just spent some time doing that and making sure that my environment, because we don't live in a vacuum. You don't sing in a vacuum. I think this is another, here I go, soapbox tangent. I think a lot of times when singers practice or musicians practice, they don't always practice in a way where they are imagining and putting themselves in their environment. But environment can dictate a lot of how you respond to any stimuli or any situation. And if you're not practicing that, if you're not taking into consideration your environment, and like I said, I do that all the time with my home. I know that my environment dictates how I feel and how I operate. So I spend a lot of time making sure that my environment is conducive to what I need to do. But I think maybe young singers don't spend enough time practicing, remembering that they're in an environment. I'm always reminding my singers to open their eyes when they're practicing. Because sometimes when you're doing like internal work, like how do I feel kinesthetically? Where do I notice the tension? We tend to turn inwards. But in order to do that while you're actually singing, you have to practice it being aware of the environment, the room that you're in. You know, practicing as if the audience was there when you get to that point in your practice, so that it's not really a shock. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about this. Oh yeah, there's an audience. And now it's a completely different set of stimuli. And if you haven't practiced your response, that habit may come in and take over. And then you're probably just off to the races with the old habit. And then you're going to do the same old thing that you've always done. And then, you know, you run the risk of the judgmental voice, the villain in your head or the mean girl in your head, coming in and making it uncomfortable then for you to do the rest of what you need to do, the rest of your set, the rest of your show. So I know I say a lot, practice at performance level, but that also includes the environment. And remember that your environment is not just the audience. It's the band members, so it's laterally on the stage and it's also behind you. A lot of times you have musicians or props or stage. You just have to be aware that you have all of these things, and sometimes even, you know, under and above you, if you have lighting trussing moving or floors moving or things that you're gonna, you know, boxes that you're gonna step on. So being aware and practicing as if you were in your environment, I think is really important. And we do it in so many other areas, but I just don't know that we do it enough as a part of our practice. And I know that I get a lot, well, there's so much to practice and there's only so many hours in the day. That's true, but whenever you are practicing, just make the environment part of what you practice. Even if it's just the room. Sing, practice, do your stretches, your mobility, your breathing, whatever. Do it with an awareness of your space that you're in. And that's going to translate into helping you not freak yourself out when you actually get on a stage and there's actual eyeballs looking back at you. Okay, well, I'm going to go, I think, and just enjoy the rest of my self-care day. So I hope you all have a good one, and I'll stream of consciousness yammer along on another afternoon.